Last month, I toured 5 homes from a prefab company down under that has a very well-received combination of affordability, quality, and style. While I was there, I caught up with the founder of AJC Modular, Andrew, to find out more about what they're up to and where they're going from here. Before we get to that, if you didn't get the memo, I am now posting daily on Facebook, so feel free to join me and 64 of my closest friends for behind the scenes pictures, more videos, and floor plans. Link is in the description below. Cut to Andrew. All right, I'm here with the CEO and founder of AJC Modular, Andrew. I guess the logical place to start would be, how did you get into this?
Sure, so I always wanted to have my own business, and I had sort of things on the side many years ago. And I woke up one morning just kind of, just had a bit of an epiphany that it's time to make a change. And I went to work that day and just started looking for businesses to buy. And I came across these plans on how to make a portable building. And the more I researched it and saw that there was a growing need, and this is going back 12 years, much more than what the need is now, I think I can apply myself to that. My grandfather was a builder, my dad was a plasterer, so I had a bit of an understanding of that industry. And I thought, well, why not combine them both? And yeah, had a chat to the financial advisor, and he's like, well, now's not a better time to do it. And no kids at the time, so go ahead and do it. So I kind of went all in, bought these plans, went in with kind of no idea like what I was in for, and yeah, just built the company up slowly to where we are now, just kind of making mistakes as we went and learned from them. And I started with a little 1,000 square metre yard in rural New South Wales, and yeah, quickly realised that working in dirt and not having like a concrete floor and a big enclosed factory like what I do now just wasn't going to be feasible. So after 6 months, I started looking for factories, and yeah, then kind of took the next risk and rented a big factory, and there I'm still there today. Just expanded more within the complex that I'm in. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you started, did you know, because you've kind of got this sweet spot, let's call it, of it's a quality product, but it's also affordable. Did you know right away that's what you wanted to do, or is that something you found out from trial and error? No,
I definitely wanted to do something affordable, but not low end.
Right.
I've always tried to find a happy medium where it would be something that I would like, something that you feel like you're getting value for your money, and not try and target the high end luxury like we were saying previously. I can make my buildings full high end luxury, but they're double if not triple the price.
Yeah.
So you just price yourself out of the market, and that's not solving anything either. Like a lot of places around the world, we're in a housing crisis, and when I first started, it wasn't anywhere near as bad as what it is now. So I tried to go in that mid-range and try to really feel like if someone buys from AJC, they feel like they're getting a great bang for buck product.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And while we're talking about pricing, where do your homes start as far as dollars go?
So we've got about 16 plans in our range that we use as examples, and they start from like a 6x3 kind of studio, 6 metres by 3 metres studio, and I think it starts at 48,000, and then we go all the way to our modular homes, which up to 200 square metre modular homes, and they get up to about 250,000. But they're all fully fitted out, no matter what you start with from the bottom. Our prices they're not starting from. Our prices are this is what it is, this is what's included.
Nice. Yeah.
So the customer knows well and truly from the start exactly what they're getting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned when we were talking the other day that when you started out, you were doing steel frame,
Yep.
and you've since switched. So can you speak to what you switched to and why?
Sure. So it was mainly, we started in Canberra. The factory when I moved from rural New South Wales is in Canberra, and it's very cold. And so when we're doing steel frames, you have to chip rock the inside, drywall, what you guys call them, and clad the outside. There's no option. So in Canberra, so once you get the plasters come in, that's a week process by the time it starts and then dries, finished, ready for the painters to come in, and then by the time the paint is dried, that's another week. So that's 2 weeks there just in sheeting and painting. I want to make the buildings in 2 weeks. So
okay.
so you're adding 2 weeks onto what I need to be a 2 week build. on average. So depending on the size, we can make them quicker, but on average they're about 2 weeks. And with the high construction costs and labour costs in Australia, when you add on to that, that's just not feasible, and it's not a scalable business model. And I can't do my pricing as tight as what it is if I had another 2 weeks onto the build cost.
Gotcha.
So I'm able to do my pricing because of I can do them a lot quicker. And so for that, I started to look at other areas of how I could make my buildings still with the same quality, not cutting any corners. And that's when I found structural insulated panels. So they're highly well insulated because they're, people make cool rooms out of them. They're BAL 40 rated, which is what we call for our flame fire rated.
Okay.
So that's one below like being full fire rated. So great acoustic properties, speed of construction. They're pre-cut, ready to go. So we can get our averages down to so 2 weeks on average on a build, and you don't have to drywall them inside as well. So nice. You can have the cool room panel finish on the inside. So yes, they're not sheeted and painted. So they're not as nice as finish as a drywalled house that's painted, but they cost a lot less.
Gotcha.
So I'm able to pass those costs on to the customers. So
perfect.
So we come in, say your average build's $80,000. A customer comes in and they can pay $80,000. Or pay 110 with a fully drywalled finish. It's only marginally better,
right?
And 9 out of 10 times, so we'd rather the $80,000.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
So we can still drywall them on the inside and paint them.
Yeah.
The customer pays for it, but sometimes people want to pay for it, but generally they'd rather save the significant amount of money.
Exactly.
Because they, as you've seen, they still look pretty good once you've furnished them and they're staged and everyone's got their, you kind of don't really realise that they're not drywalled anyway.
For sure.
Yeah.
So this is my first time in Australia, but for whatever reason, Australians are the third after Americans and Canadians for watching my channel.
I was really surprised when you told me that.
So if someone's watching and they're wondering if an AJC home is available to them, where do you deliver within the country?
All over.
Okay.
So we can deliver Australia-wide. We've delivered to Perth, which is 4,000 kilometres away from the factory.
Okay. Yeah.
Far North Queensland, which is a couple of thousand kilometres, and those buildings that you saw today up at the new Brisbane display yard. That's 1,000 kilometres away from the factory. So we've got a transport network that we deal with day in, day out. They know our buildings. We trust them. They're fully insured. They know how to handle our buildings. So we're confident that when we send a product, it's getting looked after from the moment it leaves the factory till it gets on site to the customer.
Nice. Okay. Last question, something I like to ask everyone is, what's something that sets an AJC Modular apart from some of the other options that are available?
I'd like to think the quality that we put in. When I started the company, and when you start any business, you kind of what should it be called? I purposely went in with calling it AJC, which is my initials, Andrew James Copley. So I did that on purpose because I wanted, if I was going to put a product out there, it's going to have my name on it, and no one wants to have their name spoken bad about in any way. So I did that on purpose, so I would have to uphold some type of integrity. Because your name's important.
Yes.
You can only you can build a reputation, but it can be taken very quickly. No matter who I employed, no matter what I told all my staff, it's always this level. We don't go underneath it, and I think that shows through my building and the feedback that we get. My Google reviews are fairly good. Yeah. You can't please everyone, no matter how hard you try. But I think for the construction industry, where it's quite easy for things to go wrong. I think we're not far off 5-star average with over, well into the 3 figures reviews. I think it says a lot about the company.
Definitely.
And that's spanning over 12 years. So it's pretty consistent, the reviews that we get. So, we constantly look for ways to improve. We're never just like, this is our product and okay, this is it. And I'm always looking for little ways to improve. Even just like the other day where I showed you when you came down to the Canberra display, and I was showing you how the tech screws that we put in around the door frames, we just changed to the pop rivet because they're more pleasing to look at. they're not as noticeable. Just little things like that. Always trying to improve the product. If I can pick up on something, or if someone says something, feedback from customers, if it's feasible, absolutely, I'm always looking to improve. So, awesome. And that's not like we've passed that on to customers either. If I can move it in without adjusting the price, I'll improve the product, no problem.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. I like that. Well, thanks for taking the time and letting me look around at your stuff. I think people are going to be excited to learn about what you're doing. So
thanks, mate. Thanks for coming over.